Welcome to Haunting Resonance, a realm where shadows linger and truth blurs into fiction. I'm Valen Nock, your narrator and guide into the eerie, the unknown, and the unnervingly real. The story you're about to hear is crafted from a mix of imagination and real-world whispers. It was made using various sources and inspirations. If there are any mistakes, we sincerely apologize. If you have any ideas, theories, or stories of your own, please share them in the comments below. Your voice might inspire our next journey into the dark. Now, dim the lights, steady your breath, and enjoy the tale. The air in New Delhi was thick, a choking haze that clung to everything. People breathed it in, felt it sting their eyes. A city's progress, a million cars, a city that never slept. But in the summer of 2025, something new entered the air. It began quietly. A man at a bus stop slumped over looking asleep. No one noticed until he didn't move. In a metro coach, a young woman closed her eyes. Her friends tried to wake her, but she was gone. Peaceful, no struggle. The city barely registered these silent departures. Life moved on. Soon, a pattern emerged. People from all walks of life, old men, vendors, tourists, died quietly in public. Victims had no connection, just ordinary people until their last silent breath. Initial reports blamed heat or pollution, but Delhi had survived both for decades. This was different. Fear crept in, not loud panic, but a quiet, unsettling dread. The city's monster had changed, and no one knew how to fight it. Delhi, always in motion, was now haunted by the stillness left behind. The question on everyone's mind: what was in the air? The city waited, holding its breath, for an answer that never seemed to come. Hospitals filled with confusion. Doctors, baffled, found no cause, no toxins, no organ damage, just healthy bodies that had simply stopped. The medical community's silence fueled public fear. The media pounced. The silent killer of Delhi. Is the air itself poisonous? Experts of every kind offered wild theories. Virus, government experiment, even curses. Rumors spread on social media. A strange mist, a sweet floral scent, a city cursed for its sins. The police had nothing. No witnesses, no weapons, no suspects. How do you investigate a murder with no signs of murder? The case files grew, but the answers didn't. The police, used to visible crime, were lost. In the vacuum, whispers became truth. The official investigation stalled, but on the streets, a darker narrative took hold. The city's fear was now a living thing, fed by uncertainty. The truth was buried under layers of rumor and panic. Delhi was desperate for answers, but none came. Into the chaos stepped DCP Arvind Sen, a man of grit, with a scar that told its own story. He avoided the media circus, locking himself in his office with files and maps. Arvind believed in facts, not rumors. He read every report, marked every death on a city map, searching for a hidden thread. His team found him difficult, quiet, demanding, obsessed with details. He asked the same questions. What did the air smell like? Was there a breeze? What was the victim doing? He didn't believe in coincidences. A dozen people don't just drop dead for no reason. Pressure from superiors mounted, but Arvind ignored it. He was a hunter on the trail. His scar was a reminder. People believe anything to avoid a hard truth. He saw the city telling itself ghost stories, but he knew the truth was likely more terrifying. This case wouldn't be solved with force, but with patience and logic. Arvind was determined to find the darkness hiding in plain sight. He trusted the evidence, not the noise. The city's fear only sharpened his resolve. He would not stop until he found the answer. Days passed, and the red pins on Arvind's map formed a pattern. The deaths clustered in crowded public spaces, bus stops, markets, parks, where people breathed the same air. The killer, or weapon, needed a crowd. The city's density was being used against it. Most deaths happened on windless days, suggesting something airborne that lingered. A gas? A chemical? The idea was chilling. Death floating in the air, invisible. The city's smog was now a potential murder weapon. Witness statements revealed a crucial detail: a faint, sweet, artificial floral smell near the victims. Most dismissed it, but Arvind saw its significance. This wasn't supernatural, it was chemistry, a product made by human hands. The pieces fit crowded place, still air, sweet chemical smell. This was a targeted attack, not random tragedy. The victims had nothing in common, different ages, backgrounds. The pattern wasn't in who died, but how. An airborne chemical, dispersed in a crowd. The why and who were still hidden in the smog. Arvind felt the net tighten. The city's monster was becoming visible. The answer was close, just out of reach. The city's fear was justified. The killer was in the air and it was man-made. Arvind pressed on, determined to expose the truth. The city's silence was about to be broken. The monster's mask was slipping. The breakthrough came from tragedy. A young journalist, Anjali Thakur, found dead in her car. Arvind suspected her death wasn't random. Her encrypted laptop revealed research on a company, Auratech Fragrances. Their new product, Silent Bloom, sent a chill down Arvind's spine. Anjali's notes linked Auratech to shell companies, offshore accounts, and a retired chemical engineer named Rizwan. She suspected Auratech was using consumer products as a delivery system for something sinister. The sweet floral scent made perfect sense. It was the body mist. The killer wasn't a person, but a bottle sold across the city. Victims weren't targeted. They were just near someone who'd used Silent Bloom in a crowd on a windless day. The horror was its simplicity. The randomness was explained. The city's monster had a name. Arvind had a company, a product, and a lead. The investigation had a new direction. The truth was within reach. Auratech's sleek office in Gurugram was the picture of modern success. Ads everywhere, promising serenity. Arvind visited the CEO, who denied everything, showing perfect paperwork and safety certificates. The real secrets weren't in boardrooms, but in the product's formula. Anjali's notes pointed to Rizwan, the retired chemist, now living in Himachal Pradesh. Arvind left the city's smog behind, driving to the mountains. Rizwan's house stood at the edge of the Forest of Whispers, a place locals called Haunted. Rizwan, fearful, denied knowing about Auratech or Silent Bloom. Arvind persisted, showing evidence and describing the silent deaths. The old chemist broke down, confessing he'd helped design the compound years ago for a government project. He thought it was for peaceful crowd control, never imagining it would be used like this. The truth was darker than he'd feared. The city's monster had roots in government secrets. Arvind realized the scale of the conspiracy. The investigation had crossed into dangerous territory. The answers lay in Rizwan's story. The city's silence was about to be shattered. The monster's origin was revealed. In Rizwan's mountain home, he told Arvind the chilling truth. Years ago, he'd engineered a non-lethal crowd control agent, a neurotoxin that induced calm and paralysis. But a flaw made it deadly for people with a rare genetic marker, shutting down their nervous system instantly. Rizwan tried to bury the research, but Auratech had weaponized it, mixing it into Silent Bloom. The body mist was a delivery system for a targeted biological weapon. The deaths were data points. Auratech was using Delhi as a lab to identify people with the marker. The sweet scent masked the neurotoxin. The marketing, low price, and wide distribution ensured maximum exposure. The real weapon was the data collected from the deaths. The city's population was being sorted, those with the marker and those without. The motive was unclear, but the method was monstrous. Arvind felt sick at the scale of the deception. The city's monster was a corporate experiment. The truth was more terrifying than any rumor. The investigation had uncovered a crime against humanity. Rizwan revealed the project's true name, Project Jagriti, Awakening. The crowd control story was a cover. The real goal was to identify people with the rare genetic marker. Auratech was a front, continuing the project in the private sector, away from oversight. Every death confirmed a positive identification. Survivors were tracked through purchases and social media. The motive was a ghost, eugenics, exploitation, or something worse. The real crime was the mass data collection, the violation of millions. The victims weren't random. They were targets in a citywide genetic hunt. Arvind saw the conspiracy's true scale, bigger than a company, rooted in government. Exposing Auratech was easy. Exposing Project Jagriti would be a war. The city's monster was a faceless enemy, hiding in plain sight. Armed with Rizwan's testimony and Anjali's data, Arvind led a dawn raid on an unmarked warehouse. Inside, they found vats of neurotoxin, a production line for Silent Bloom, and a data center, the heart of Project Jagriti. The servers held names, genetic profiles, and real-time sales data. The evidence was overwhelming. The story exploded, media frenzy, arrests, government promises. For a moment, it seemed justice would be served. But the narrative shifted. The investigation stalled. Evidence disappeared. The Project Jagriti link was denied, called a conspiracy theory. Executives were released, trials postponed, the media moved on. The truth was too big, too dangerous. Arvind was promoted and exiled to a remote mountain post. He'd won the battle, but lost the war. The monster retreated into the shadows, waiting. Months later, Arvind received an unmarked package, a new product, Serenity Air, with a familiar logo. He opened it. A sweet floral scent filled the room. The blooming hadn't stopped. It had just changed its name. The city's monster was still out there, silent and unseen. The cycle would begin again. The truth was buried, but not dead. The city's fear lingered, quiet as ever. The monster waited, patient as the air, and Delhi held its breath. That was today's story. If you felt the chills, if your thoughts wandered into shadows, then our tale has served its purpose. Thank you for watching Haunting Resonance, where mysteries are more than stories. They're echoes of something deeper. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support us. We're building something dark, beautiful, and endless here, with you. I'm Valen Noct, and I'll return soon with more twisted truths and haunting tales. Until then, stay safe, and trust no silence.
Resonance, where every shadow tells a story. Subscribe for more true horror stories. And don't forget to like, comment, and share if you dare. Follow us on social media for updates. Until next time, let the darkness guide you.